Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Centers for Spiritual Living Greater Baltimore. My name is Frank Mastores. I am the practitioner of the day. I'm going to be leading us in a meditation. And this is a meditation related to so many things going on in our lives. We live in the flow of constant change. And as this month's theme has been, we've been dealing with different emotions. And today is sadness. Sadness is just a part of the experience of living. We experience it through the constant change. As life is ever flowing and ever moving and ever changing, so is our experience of life. And many times we're so busy, we just plain don't take a moment to stop, just to experience it, to move through it, and to feel it. So today, let's take a moment and move into the quiet. Take a deep breath in and just release. Take another deep breath in and release. Take a third deep breath in and release at your own pace. Now let's just move into that place of silence within ourselves. And if there's a voice talking to you, tell it thank you for sharing. You can move past it. You can ignore it. You can say, please be quiet. Just allow yourself to sit in that silence. As this is Memorial Day weekend, allow yourself just to be aware and mindful of those who gave the ultimate sacrifice for our country. And just allow yourself to feel it. and thank them for their service. Our world has been filled with so many sad experiences lately. Let's move into our awareness of our feelings related to the mass shooting in Buffalo at the grocery store. And just allow yourself just to feel sad without feeling the sadness. We can't heal. Now let's move to the next experience, the experience of the children being shot in school. And just allow yourself to feel your feelings around it, whatever those feelings are. For me, it's anger and it's sadness, but for you, it could be something different. Allow yourself just to experience those feelings. Now let's move into our own lives and acknowledge your feelings about the transitions of your own life. The, the people in your lives who are going through difficult health challenges, the transitions and deaths of our beloved family and friends leaving form. As changes are constant in life, sometimes we grieve the changes. Allow yourself just to feel about all that. Now that you've allowed yourself to feel your sadness, I'm going to ask you to turn within even deeper and say thank you. Talk to your own sadness. Tell it thank you for being present. Now I'm going to ask you to tell it that you're releasing it. Take it individual moments of sadness. For example, the death of a loved one, and just say, I release the sadness and light and love. And I ask to be released in light and love from the sadness. So take the time to go through the sadness of your life, the outer sadness of the greater things, from the shootings in Buffalo and the shootings at the school and Memorial Day and family members and friends, whatever thing you're sad about or have been sad about. We cannot heal what we will not experience. So just allow yourself to be with that, releasing and thanking. Now, as you've gone through this technique, allow yourself just to always be mindful of it. That we have to feel what we are experiencing in order to heal. We cannot keep stuffing our feelings. Stuffing our feelings does nothing for us but to keep us trapped. So allow yourself just to feel your feelings, allow yourself to release them, and allow yourself to move forward in your life. Then please come back into the space where you were so loved and so honored and so much the presence of the divine itself. Namaste.
Good morning, dear ones. It's a tough morning for everybody, I know, tough time in our world, but I think this Jason Mraz song really lends a lot of consolation. The question is why? Why are we here? To say our hellos and goodbyes, then disappear. This beautiful life, what is it for? To learn how to master peace or master war. There's only one answer that matters, even if your heart has been shattered. Whatever you are, whatever you are after, love is still the answer. Love is still the answer. Love, 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 love. Love, 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 love. We all make mistakes. No, we're not perfect yet. Maybe God made us all from an accident. And the question that sits on everyone's lips is why should we pick ourselves up and start over again? There's only one answer that matters, even if your heart has been shattered. Whatever you are, whatever you are after, love is still is still the answer. Love, 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 love. Love, 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 love. The question I'll ask at the end of my days is, what did I give and what will I take? There's only one answer that matters. Even if your heart and your dreams have been shattered, whatever you want, whatever you are after, love is still the answer. Love is still the answer. Love is still the answer.
God morning, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Greater Baltimore's virtual service. I am Tracy Rhymes, your host. Our speaker is our spiritual director, Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson. Our musicians are Soulpajamas. Serving as today's practitioner who led the pre-service meditation is Frank Mestoris. Assisting with making this service open, inviting, and accessible to the deaf community are our sign language interpreters, Dedra Wilcher and Theodore Logan. On behalf of Reverend Dr. Ray, thank you for your service. At CSLGB, every Sunday is an invite a friend or family member Sunday. Make sure you spread the love and invite someone to service. We would love to have them hang out with us. Frank was raised Catholic. As he grew, he was more determined to find an experience of the divine or God. He felt this overriding desire or need to find God. Frank began to explore his own spirituality using prayer, meditation, the Bible, and the rosaries as a means of exploring his spirituality. He had this experience of feeling overwhelmingly connected to God and loved. Though he did not realize it, he felt as if he was love itself. Frank has been involved with religious science since 1992. He traveled as part of this job and was able to see multiple versions of religious science churches throughout the country. He has been a practitioner for 8 years. He has felt this call for over 40 years to live and share a life of oneness with and as the divine expression of all of life. Frank's spiritual work is to always call others to their deeper awareness of the divine within, throughout, and about their lives. Frank's spiritual work is to call all to the deep awareness of God as themselves.
Good morning again. Today, we talk about and experience the emotion of sadness. It's part of our series we've been doing around emotions for the last month. So today, let's move into that. Let's move into the deep spiritual practice of spiritual mind treatment. Let's move into our deep awareness of our oneness. And in this very moment, I know that there's only one power, one presence, one essence, the nameless thing that we call God. I choose to call it God. Some would call it the Christ consciousness. Some would call it the Buddha consciousness. Some people would call it Yahweh. Some people will call it the Wee Woo. Some people will call it the Tao. Yet whatever name you call it, it is everywhere present. It is everywhere present. We are surrounded by it. We are enveloped by it. We are part of it. We are inseparable from it. And because of this, we know only it. I know today we move into a deeper awareness of that oneness. Regardless of the form that it's taking, we move into an even deeper awareness and allow ourselves just to experience the oneness in whatever form it needs to take within us as us. I know today, as Reverend Raymont speaks of the whole idea of sadness, I know that it's perfect. I'm grateful for our beloved interpreters who give us their loving service every Sunday. They give us their loving time. They give of themselves the gift of spirit through them. I'm grateful for Aaron and Dan for their beloved, beautiful music. Knowing the truth, they too express God. I give thanks for each and every one of you, knowing that you are that expression of the divine. Perfect and perfected just the way you are. No apologies, no excuses. And I release this, knowing that this service is done perfectly, knowing that each person is filled with the divine presence, knowing that each person here is inseparable, knowing that the words that Reverend Raymont speaks goes far beyond this moment to completely help to transform our existence, individually, collectively as community, and even the greater community of love upon this planet. And I release this knowing it's done in mind and form, and so it is.
The Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Baltimore's community, honors the world's religions. One tree, many branches. One mountain, many paths. One world, many religions and spiritual traditions. With the lighting of these candles on the first Sunday of each month, we not only honor each person on their select path, but we also bless them and recognize the light, the love, and the life-affirming nature of spirit as it shows itself in each path. in each practice and in each person.
Time for announcements. On the first and third Monday nights, the Sacred Contracts Book Club, hosted by Nancy Rosenberg. The Wednesday night Science of Mind study group, facilitated by Reverend Dr. Ray, and the Thursday night study group, facilitated by practitioner Sue Monahan. Sign up for the CSLGB newsletter. The CSLGB Facebook and Instagram pages. Visit cslgreaterbaltimore.org and get more news and information, including what Reverend Dr. Ray is teaching in the larger CSL community. And one important friendly reminder, you can share the CSLGB service link on your Facebook page. Blessing bags were distributed February 6th during the Baltimore ceasefire. We are still accepting monetary donations to offset the cost and to save for future distributions. To give, visit the website and note that your donation is for blessing bags. CSL Summer Movie Series. 11 movie lovers, speakers, and teachers will present their interpretation of the spiritual message within a film they choose. Come with questions and curiosity. It will be a fun, insightful time for those who love movies and for those who want to understand a deeper spirituality alive in cinema. Proceeds benefit CSL's Camp Cedar Ridge. If you have fundraising ideas and want to share or be on the fundraising committee, email Rainica Hermetla. We are looking for community support for Karma Fest. This is a great opportunity to get the word out into the larger spiritual community from Friday, June 24th to Sunday, June 26th, by volunteering at our booth. If you are unable to attend and volunteer that weekend, there are other ways you can support, such as donating any gently used Science of Mind for us to give to people, and giving a financial donation specifically for us to use for Karma Fest related items. For those of you on Facebook, you can also go to our CSLGB Facebook page and share the Karma Fest events from our page onto your Facebook page. For more information, times, specific needs, and to sign up to volunteer, send an email to our Karma Fest lead, janebench@gmail.com. The CSLGB Building Committee is seeking assistance in a variety of ways to locate the right next home for CSLGB. For more information on how you can assist, email Dana Molden, Committee Chair. Email is dana.molden@gmail.com. At CSLGB, every Sunday is a great day to choose this as your spiritual community, your spiritual family. The first step is to take the discovery class, which is offered online and can be taken at any time. Visit the website to learn more and enroll in the Discovery class. To receive a daily text and voicemail from Reverend Dr. Ray, type JOIN to 833-663-9021 to begin receiving your daily inspiration. You will be glad you did. Prayer works. We, as a community, continue to treat and move our feet, knowing the truth for everyone around the planet. Prayer requests can be sent at any time via email to info@cslgreaterbaltimore.org. Dan and Erin Johnson are a musical duo called Soulpajamas. They specialize in uplifting, empowering, and positive music filled with jazzy chords and vocal harmony. In these times of increasing isolation, the music of Soulpajamas offers comfort, connection, and possibility for everyone.
You with the sad eyes, don't be discouraged. Oh, I realize it's hard to take courage in a world full of people. You can lose sight of it all, and the darkness inside you can make you feel small. But I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors. That's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. Your true colors are beautiful, like a rainbow. Show me a smile then. Don't be unhappy. Can't remember when I last saw you smiling. If this world makes you crazy and you've taken all you can bear, you just call me up, because you know I'll be there. And I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors. That's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. Your true colors come shining through, and I'll see your true colors. That's why I love you. Don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. Your true colors are beautiful, like a rainbow.
Thank you, Soulpajamas. Frank returns to lead us in a spiritual practice.
Today's spiritual practice is a contemplation around sadness. Dear old friend, I have known you from the very beginning of my life. You have been a constant companion. Even when I tried to ignore you, you were there. When I've tried to walk away, you've been there. At times, you've overwhelmed me, and I wallowed in you. Yet, even in the midst of that, I lived my life feeling you. Today, I honor you. I create space for you in the constant flow and change of life. I allow you to be as you are, as you show me my thoughts, for you are a great teacher. I allow you to live within me that I might experience life, that I might move through you, experience you, and release you, that I can move to joy, that I could move to peace, that I could move to happiness, that I could move to love. And so it is.
And so it is. Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson is an ordained Centers for Spiritual Living minister, serving the Centers for Spiritual Living Greater Baltimore community as our spiritual director. As a lifelong learner with a passion for self-development, personal transformation, transmutation, and transfiguration, he has frequently been referred to as a Renaissance man and visionary New Thought leader who makes complex metaphysical concepts readily understandable and applicable. His mission is to live, move, and be an active member of society who serves to educate, elucidate, and emancipate people and communities to awaken and empower themselves. ACTIVE is an acronym that stands for authentic, compassionate, transparent, inspired, vibrant, empowered, and he continues to live his bliss as a teacher, minister, author, workshop and seminar facilitator, visual artist, ASL interpreter, and ASL performing artist, mentor, father, grandfather, and more. I give you Reverend Dr. Ray.
Namaste, greetings, blessings. So, yes, we're diving into a topic that is rather uncomfortable for many people, and yet is a necessary topic, especially for us within this teaching of New Thought, Science of Mind and Spirit. It is especially important for us because what we recognize is God is all there is. And so every emotion that we feel serves a purpose if we let it. Today, we are talking about the low tide or the high tide. Sadness is a primary emotion that we all feel at some point or another. Sadness can be mood altering and is triggered by a huge variety of other situations, emotions, circumstances, and things. Sadness can cause one to feel what we call blue. You may want to be alone. You may also find comfort in foods or simply sitting on one's pity pot. Even the genre of blues music was created from this sense of sadness that one may experience in their lived circumstances and experiences. Sadness can be a melancholy state that is common to embrace as a backdrop and an undertone of one's life. So breathe. Now, some of us may remember a couple of years ago, there was this musical group called the Ink Spots, and they came out with a song called Into Each Life Some Rain Must Fall. Into each life some rain must fall, but too much is falling in mine. Into each heart some tears must fall, but someday the sun will shine. Now, within this, there is this reminder that sadness, for one thing or another, is part of the human experience. And yet we are reminded that when it rains, even when we say, when it rains, it pours. Yes. And yet that rain, the season of rain, will shift and there will be a rainbow and sunshine. Our invitation is to be present to the feelings as they move, as the tide turns, per se. Sue Morter says, if we can start to think of emotions as energies, as effects to anchor or expand, we won't be afraid of sadness. Now, breathe. We won't be afraid of sadness. Why might we be afraid of sadness? Why might we do our best to avoid it at all costs, even if that means we are going to bypass it or malpractice in order to, I'm good. God is good. God is all there is, and everything is great. Why might we bypass, sidestep, or malpractice to simply stay away from this thing called sadness? Because it's an unpleasant feeling. It's unpleasant. We don't like it. And yet, there are a lot of things in life that are unpleasant, and yet they are necessary in terms of, I don't know about you, but when I was in school, the first 6th, 7th, 9th, 12th time over the years, I didn't like doing homework. Homework was not my favorite thing. I didn't sit up, when the teacher said tonight's homework is, and I'm like, oh, yes, thank you, Jesus. We're getting more homework. We have to write a 25-page book report. Yes, my life is on purpose now. Yeah, no. It's unpleasant, and yet it's necessary as part of the educational system. I don't like going to the gym. I don't like working out. I don't like it. You may think otherwise, but if I could somehow avoid it and still be healthy and stay in shape, then I would still be healthy and stay in shape without working out or going to the gym. Now, yeah, I would walk because I love nature, but you follow my drift. There are certain uncomfortable things that are part of the process. Sadness is one of these. It does not matter how the water crashes. It does not matter if it's a high tide or low tide. What matters is how we recognize it, navigate it, and are present with it. In the same way that the water crashes at the beach, the tides rise and fall in the ocean. The tide rises and falls within our own bodies in the same way because we also, like those tides, are made of H2O. But I want us to think about this as the energy that we just heard about. Think of this sadness and these emotions as energies. So when we talk about what is a good definition of a tide, breathe. The periodic rise and fall of the water level in the oceans. Now, but what we're talking about is sadness, right? So what about our emotional tide? The rise and fall of the emotional levels in our lives, how our emotions ebb and flow. And so when we talk about this idea of tide, what exactly are we really saying? Now, yes, Tracy, I made it into an acronym. Yes. TIDE is that idea of the transformative inner development of emotions. One could also refer to this as our emotional intelligence. How am I allowing what I am feeling to be the energy that is catalytic, that is alchemical in its ability to change my experiences? Breathe. Scott Aubrey says, I am in touch with any sadness that may be resident in my heart. I am in touch with any sadness that may be residing in my heart. And I have the courage to let myself feel it. If we're going to be transformative in this process, then we are called to have courage. In the pre-service meditation, Frank led us through the shooting of Buffalo and the mass shooting once again at a school, an elementary school in Texas. I have the courage to let myself feel. I have the courage to let my heart be broken once again. But why? Once again, because the energy of being present with this gives me the ability to transform not only my life individually, but collectively. So when we're talking about this idea of ebb and flow, and there's a sine wave and it talks about the ebb and the flow, how the energy moves. Well, I want us to use this exact same idea, because if God is everywhere, then God is everywhere. So we can find a spiritual, a metaphysical lesson in this scientific, mathematical concept, right? So we talk about amplitude and frequency and phase. But what does that have to do with us? Well, amplitude in physics is the maximum displacement or distance moved by a point on a vibrating body or wave measured. To what degree are your emotions amplified? To what degree are they moving or displacing? See, sometimes we think that when sadness is there, it displaces joy and happiness. I can't be happy and sad in the same space. I have to displace one rather than both and. When we're talking about frequency, what is the frequency that we feel joy or gratitude? What is how often in any given day do we recognize some repeating pattern of occurring emotions or feelings or thoughts that inspire those emotions or feelings? And phase as a noun, a distinct period or stage within a series of events. What stage am I moving through? And how do I carry out whatever it is, my vision, mission, my purpose in living? How do I show up? We talk about the phases of a day: morning, afternoon, evening, and night. Well, as the day phases or the phases of the moon, how am I in my own life experiencing sadness, the phase? Sadness may be a slight sliver, but then as it progresses, it is a full, like the moon, it is full and round, and I feel its gravitational pull as it beckons me. And then it phases again. Grief comes and goes. The grief that I felt when my parents first died isn't necessarily what I feel right now. And yet, at any given moment, as things happen, amplitude, frequency, phase comes and goes, thoughts and feelings happen, that grief can resurface right here and right now? Am I willing to be present to allow it to carry out some greater function within my life? Am I willing to ride the wave of my emotions? Am I willing to be a master, to craft through the tools of my practice, to craft the effective thing that gives me the abilities to ride the waves? In the same way that a surfboard created by a master craftsperson gives the surfer the ability to ride the wave and to ride it effectively. They're not surfing on popsicle sticks. It is an effective tool. Am I using my spiritual practice as an effective tool to surf, to ride the wave of sadness? The Buddha says, happiness follows sorrow. Sorrow follows happiness. But when one no longer discriminates happiness and sorrow, a good deed should be deed, and a bad deed, one is able to realize freedom. When we are not judging what we feel, and we recognize happiness and sadness simply are energies, they are emotions, neither good nor bad, then we are free, because we are no longer trying to avoid sorrow, but we recognize it in the present and that it has a purpose. In the Bible, in Ecclesiastes, and I'm specifying 1, 4, and 7, there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under heaven, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak. Phases, amplitude, frequency, how we are present with the emotions of sadness and recognizing the ebb and the flow. Richard Rohr says, inability or refusal to feel their deep sadness takes the form of aimless anger. To get to the bottom of their anger is to face the ocean of sadness that is underneath it. See, unresolved, unhealed, unaddressed sadness and sorrow can very easily become anger. And he specifically says aimless anger. That's anger that burns like a wildfire, not the fire on the stove or the fire of a candle, which is focused and purposeful. The wildfire burns down everything in its way. And we have great examples of how this aimless anger shows up in our lives. But are we present to recognize, am I denying the sorrow that I feel and then lashing out at others because I feel angry? Because anger that is lashing out because of sorrow, sadness, grief that is unaddressed causes a great many things to become present in the world. A great many energetic representations of aimless anger are then let loose in the world. And so we are invited, where in me do I have unresolved, unhealed, unaddressed, unfocused? Like, where am I not comforting, nurturing, giving the space for whatever it is that I am feeling, so that the anger does not come out aimlessly, so that the anger is not lashing out like the rattlesnake, lashing out, spreading its venom. Gary Zukav says, if the musician becomes consumed with grief or rage or sadness, the instrument disintegrates. In some cases, a broken instrument can be repaired, but a repair at that level cannot cure what caused the breakdown. So we are being addressed, we are being invited not simply to be present to the sadness, the grief, the anger, but to address where in consciousness is it originating? Where in my life experience and circumstances, what is triggering it? If someone says something and it's insulting and I feel sad, what was it about what they said? Where was it in me that those words, that phrase landed and caused me to feel rage, sadness, anxiety? How am I consumed by? And my instrument, my body temple, how might it be disintegrating? How might it be in a non-life affirming manner? How are these emotions, these thoughts affecting my body temple? Are they causing my body temple to break down? Because see, we know there is a strong mind-body connection, that the person who has unresolved anger and unresolved grief, or unaddressed anger and grief, the body feels it. So it's not just an isolated emotion that happens somewhere else. There is only this. And so what we have in our consciousness affects the energy of our body temple. Are we willing to address, to truly look at the root causes of all of this stuff? So when we have a broken heart, or a heart that is frozen, rigid, unbeating, or a heart that is shattered because of trauma and grief and pain and sadness, are we willing, just like the Japanese art, gold mending, are we willing to mend our heart? Are we willing to rejoin the pieces, to bring the energy of that chakra alive so that we may live, move, and have our beingness in the most life-affirming way possible? Not just for ourselves, but for the collective as well. Nothing happens in isolation. Clarence Mayer says, the human experience of life, while not particularly interested in abstractions about a creative principle, is interested in its personal problems. For this is the human eye that may be sick in some deep or financial or other difficulties. And if this is so, then the person's interest lies in escaping or healing the difficulties at hand, and not in the progression of the planets, no matter how marvelous that may be. In other words, it's great to theorize and want to be mystical and all of that jazz. That's great and good. But if you're hungry, it's all great to theorize about the goodness of God and love and peace and unity. But if kids are being shot, it's great to theorize about God is all there is and there's only one and that one must be me. But I'm feeling grief and I'm alone and I'm isolated. See, it's great too, and yet there are human needs that we are invited to address, human emotions that we are invited to address, human conditions that we are invited to address. Otherwise, our spiritual practice isn't worth anything other than the words we throw the words out there. But you know how people say it's not worth the paper, it's money, it's whatever, it's not worth the paper that it's printed on. Our words aren't worth anything. The Bible, the Quran, the Talmud, the Tao Te Ching, none of those documents are worth anything if the words stay on paper and are theorized. They become meaningful when we live those words. When your life is scripture, when your life is the word of God, when you are living, moving, and having your beingness, and your spiritual imperative is made visible, then we are manifesting, creating a world that works for all. Breathe. The Dalai Lama and Bishop Desmond Tutu say, the way through the sadness and grief that comes from great loss is to use it as motivation and to generate a deeper sense of purpose. You can't do that if you feel the sadness, the grief, the whatever that is, and you pity pot. It just sits there. It's like having a handful of seeds that you never plant. Well, the seeds can't be used. They're not going to grow. So the energy of sadness and grief, the moment we say, I need to do something with this energy. Mothers Against Drunk Driving, MAD. That's how it was born. This great sadness and grief motivated these mothers to create an organization so that no other mother would have to bury their child as a result of drunk driving. It fueled a new purpose for them. Reverend Dr. Ray says, there are no emotions that occur outside of God. Pause and breathe. Which means the full emotional spectrum serves a divine purpose if and when we are in tune with what we are feeling and steward those feelings effectively rather than letting the feelings dictate or control what we do in our lives. You know, people act out because they're jealous. People act out because they're afraid, they're angry, they were bullied, they act out. The emotions are controlling them. Fear controlling them. Sadness controlling them, rather than being in tune with and recognizing if the sadness is showing up, then this energy serves a purpose. Am I willing to tune in to practice principle so that I am able to now use this energy for a greater and grander purpose? Breathe. Recognize that we have the opportunity to live not only in the flow, but as the flow itself, to rise and fall with every ebb and flow, the high tide and the low tide. There is only one tide, and that tide is God in expression. To be in the flow and as the flow itself. Breathe. This week's practice, our opportunity to journal and discuss. What has caused me to feel sadness recently? Frank mentioned specifically two things that happened in our world in the United States of America. Was it that? Was it something else? Is it that and something else? What are some of my greatest opportunities for growth by exploring and healing in my emotions around this thing called sadness? What opportunities do I have? And you may think you have none, but if you sit with and you practice, and maybe that's speaking to a counselor or a therapist or a practitioner, the minister, a friend, whatever it means I am willing to recognize that this thing that I feel need not bury me, need not drown me, need not control me. There's a greater opportunity residing within it. What are some of my greatest lessons learned recently in the processing through my emotions around sadness? Have I learned anything new about myself? Have I learned maybe that my sadness and my anger are very closely tied? Have I learned that it is easier or more acceptable for me to be angry than sad? And what does that mean? And then lastly, have a conversation with two people about your process of feeling into sadness. Feel into it. And how has sadness changed your life over the years? Breathe. This week's affirmation/declaration, if you feel so aligned, then on the second time that I recite it, that I declare it, feel free to join me. My sadness is transformed by giving it the space and the love it needs. Together. My sadness is transformed by giving it the space and the love it needs. Breathe. Breathe as we prepare our hearts and our minds, our very spirit, our entire existence once again for the beauty, the power, and the energy of Soulpajamas. Blessings and gratitude.
Magnificent, Reverend Ray, as always. This is a great song by Jan Garrett and J.D. Martin. Well, take it easy, baby. You're in the middle of a miracle. You are right smack dab in the midst of the action. You're the main attraction. You're in the right place at the right time. You're a legend in your own mind, so take it easy, baby. You're in the middle of a miracle. You're in the middle of a miracle. When the world outside gets a little bit dry and the same old is passing you by, there's a wide world inside that smells of freshly falling rain. There are angels waiting like long lost friends till you find your sense of humor again. So take it easy, baby. You're in the middle of a miracle. You are right smack dab in the midst of the action. You're the main attraction. You're in the right place at the right time. You're a legend in your own mind, so take it easy, baby. You're in the middle of a miracle. You're in the middle of a miracle. You're in the middle of a miracle. Well, you wake up funky like a foggy day, and your world inside feels cloudy and gray. Take yourself for a walk on the wild side, outside in the sunshine. There are mamas and babies and flowers in bloom, and high-flown strutters with a boombox too. So take it easy, baby. You're in the middle of a miracle. You are right smack dab in the midst of the action. You're a chain reaction. You're in the right place at the right time. You're a legend in your own mind, so take it easy, baby. You're in the middle of a miracle. You're in the middle of a miracle. You're in the middle of a miracle. There's a promise in the air that you breathe, even if you don't believe it. You can feel it in the smiles of a summer night. You can hear it on the edge of your dreams, softly singing in the starlight. Wake up, baby, everything is all right. So take it easy, baby. You're in the middle of a miracle. You are right smack the midst of the action. You're a chain reaction. You're in the right place at the right time. You're a legend in your own mind, so take it easy, baby. You're in the middle of a miracle. You're in the middle of a miracle. Yes, you're in the middle of a miracle. You're in the middle of a miracle.
Yes, 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 yes. In the middle of a miracle. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, yes. Right smack dab in the middle of the action. Yes, because wait a minute. Wherever God is, the action must be. So, yes, of course. Thank you, Dan and Aaron. Yes, right smack dab in the middle of. And, whoa. Did y'all, hey, did y'all hear the part? Y'all ain't listening. Did y'all not hear the part where she said, you are a chain reaction. Your mental equivalent, your thoughts, your feelings, your words, your actions, chain reaction ripples across the water of the cosmos, changes things. Say, oh, yes. See, I should have let Dan and Aaron deliver today's message. That's what I'm talking about. Yes. Love y'all. Yes. Ooh, breathe, Ray. Breathe. Right smack dab in the middle of the action. Ooh. Breathe. Okay, so here we are. Hello, CSL Greater Baltimore. Here at CSL Greater Baltimore, we are holding the vision of what it means for this beloved community to be exactly that, a chain reaction, a catalyst in what it means to elevate consciousness in Baltimore City and the surrounding region and the East Coast, and to let that chain reaction ripple on out west, so far west until it encompasses the planet, comes right back to the East Coast. So that's what I'm talking about. Now, if you're new to CSL Greater Baltimore, you may not know that the practitioner Corps of Distinction has pledged $50,000 on top of their already scheduled tithing each month, an additional $50,000. And as of the 22nd of April, that amount is $10,000, $10,675. The community's matching pledge, also $50,000 on top of their regular tithes, as of the 22nd of April, $1,425. Now, once again, if you're new, you may not know. Well, Reverend Ray, how do I tithe? How do I give? You have four possible ways: PayPal, Givelify, text messaging, and the trusted postal mail service. You can also divide a certain portion of your tithes if you ever wanted to. 25% to emergency care, 25% to education, 25, like you could divide up. If you ever wanted more information, you could contact our treasurer, Sue Monahan, or you can also visit the website, cslgreaterbaltimore.com/give, or reach out to any of the board of trustees, and we will be sure to answer your questions. Here at CSL Greater Baltimore, when we declare this financial wealth and abundance declaration, we are recognizing that it's not only financial, because having money but not physical health and emotional health, what's the point in having the money? So when we make this declaration of wealth and abundance, we are declaring wealth and abundance for all of the areas of our lives, wealth and abundance in our relationships, in our love and capacity to receive and feel love, in our health and well-being of our body temple, in all of these areas: health, wealth, abundance, prosperity, opulence. So if this resonates with you, then come on and declare it with me. Ready? I joyfully, consciously, and gratefully participate in the law of circulation. I trust in the spiritual principle that says, as I sow into my beloved community, I demonstrate my awareness of standing not only in the flow, but as the flow itself. as I sow of myself, my time, my treasure, my talent, I demonstrate my support and engagement in my community's vision, mission, and purpose. I actively give as a demonstration of manifesting, of reaping the harvest of a world that works for all. Breathe. Thank you very much for being right smack dab in the middle of the action. Thank you for being willing to step forward to be the very chain reaction of spirit, of God, of source of the universe acting upon itself. Thank you for being willing to be the main attraction. Thank you for being. Thank you for being. I almost did the Golden Girls thing. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being you. You're awesome, as Tracy always reminds us. Now, today, after service, feel free to go over to the Zoom room. And if you want prayer because you want something in your life to change or things are great and you want them to be even more great, then Tracy will put you in a breakout room with Frank so he can know the truth about you, for you, through you, so that you show up as that divine chain reaction. Now, when you get there, type the word prayer in the chat box so Tracy knows you're there for that. Otherwise, feel free to join us over there for fellowship and fun and all of that stuff, because, Tracy's sure to have us laughing, because she always does. See, she just y'all couldn't hear it. I heard her. She just said, ha, ha. So breathing right now in this divine and sacred ha, our holy awareness, our ha. We breathe. We allow this breath to breathe us. We allow this realization that our mental equivalent is the chain reaction, that we are here on purpose, purposefully choosing thoughts, words, actions, and deeds that are rippling out into the world. Because right where we are, a miracle is. Because all that God is that miraculousness that is spirit, that is source, that is. And in this space of the miracle, we are able to hold the container for sadness and grief while recognizing joy and love and gratitude and the change and transformation that is right now occurring. Breathe. So even though this thing called service is coming to an end, we know that the way that we as God continue to serve, continue to move, continue to have our beingness as that divine energy that goes on forever. As it says in our Declaration of Principles, we believe in the eternality, the immortality, and the continuity of the individual soul forever and ever expanding. Because right where we are, we're right smack dab in the middle of it. Breathe. Knowing that the law says yes, and knowing that this means it's already answered prayer, I allow it to be that with joy and gratitude and appreciation. And together we say, and so it is, and now it is. Namaste, blessings. See you over in Zoom.